Everyone has that one extended family member that stands out amongst the rest. Whether it's the uncle that always dares you to do something dumb, the aunt that makes you get up and dance with her when you don't want to, or the cousin that loves to sit down and talk to you about all their trauma. We all have one. I'm very lucky to have a large extended family, but the one that always stood out the most was my Aunt Virginia. She was the kind of person that would give you the shirt off her back if it meant she could help you, or be the first one in line to make you laugh or smile when you needed it the most. In fact, looking back, I can't even think of a time that she wasn't smiling, no matter what kind of pain she was in. Aunt Virginia was one of the strongest people I've ever known because she always made sure her family was taken care of. She always made the best out of any situation, and she never gave up, right up until she just couldn't fight anymore. My Aunt Virginia was the youngest of my father's siblings. They all grew up in a small, run-down house right there on the edge of Hedrick, all taking care of one another. Now, Aunt Virginia was the youngest, but based on everyone's stories about her, she was definitely the meanest. She was the one that made sure they all stood in line, but that they were all taken care of. As they started getting older, she was the one that my grandparents would ask to help cook and clean. She would do it without question, and even sometimes when they didn't ask. As they started getting older and moving away from home, Aunt Virginia would still call and talk to everyone to make sure everybody was okay. And as my grandparents started getting older in age and needing more help, she would always be the first one there to help in any way she could. In fact, she was the only one that could even convince my grandfather to go to the hospital to a doctor when he really needed to, which is why it came to such a shock to us when she sat us down and told us that she had breast and ovarian cancer with a smile on her face. It's been 14 years now since she gave us the news, and I still just can't believe just how calm and almost happy she was to tell us. She never would let us feel pity for her. She would always go around making jokes about everything. In fact, when she first got out of the hospital after recovering from a hysterectomy and a double mastectomy, she was calling around talking to everyone, making sure everybody else was doing fine and having fun, but not before she asked her husband how big her replacement set were going to be. When she started to show with her veins after starting chemotherapy, she would go around joking about how she was going to be a rock star and get tattoos to cover them all up, even though how much she hated tattoos. Aunt Virginia never once stopped trying to make people feel comfortable or making sure everybody else was okay around her, which is why it's hard to think back about how the last time we got a phone call, it was about her and not from her. Aunt Virginia fought cancer for 12 long years, but she never once lost her smile. She never once wanted somebody to feel pity for her or to feel sorry for her because she wasn't going to give up on herself, so why should anyone else? She didn't want a ribbon, she didn't want a band, she didn't want a wig. She wanted to live her life the way she wanted to and to do what she thought was right. She was bound and determined to make sure that anything that affected her was not going to affect anyone around her, especially her family. Even when the last time the whole family was together and she looked just so small and frail, she still had the biggest smile on her face and chased her grandchildren up and down those halls as much as she could. She even tried to cook for us that evening. Aunt Virginia passed in October of 2017 with the biggest smile on her face and leaving the most lasting impression on my family that we will ever have. I don't wear a ribbon or a band because Aunt Virginia didn't want us to. I never shaved my head in support because Aunt Virginia didn't want us to. I don't have any tattoos of her because my Aunt Virginia didn't want us to. She never wanted to be pitied or to be a burden on her family. She just wanted us to be happy, to be safe, and to smile just as much as we possibly can. So I say, do those stupid dares that your uncle asks you every time. Always sit down with your cousin and talk all the drama you can with them. And always, always get up and dance with your aunt every time she asks. Because I hope you never know just how much you'll regret it not doing it when they're not around anymore. Thank you.